Alright, ladies and gents, the point of no return. Let's get started. No one's here? How can this cathedral be completely empty?
So, you've arrived at last.
Oh, you're from the Leaf's Chapel. Sister Rosine? I heard rumors, but... Wait, so what Gaius and Emma were talking about? I was somewhat expecting you to show up here, but your main objective is different, right?
Yes, it's good to see you all again. Please, come in. They're waiting for you just over there.
I'm glad you all finally made it. The church has decided this issue now merits the attention of the Congregation for the Sacraments. As such, the Archbishop and all the staff here have been moved to another location.
Huh? I get it now. Huh? A former instructor at Thor's main campus? Thomas?
Thank you for all your diligence, Rosine. I'd feel much better if you were to stand watch over the front door now, just in case.
Yes, understood. Leave it to me.
What was that all about? This was pretty shocking to us too.
Let me introduce you. This man is a member of the Gral, a division of the Septian Church. He's the second in command, in fact. Thomas Lysander. He holds the seat of Second Dominion and is sometimes known by his title, the Partitioner.
Gralsritter? They're an armed knight organization that is run by the church. I'd heard that female terrorist S was once among their ranks. Wait a minute. Guys, does this mean... Are you?
Now allow me to introduce you. This man is one of the Gralsritter's 12 Dominion, the successor to the 8th Dominion, Gaius Warzel.
But why? Is this why we couldn't get a hold of you for the past 6 months?
Yeah, a lot happened all at once. After graduating from Thors, I returned to Nord and began observing the struggle between Erebonia and Calvert. However, I began to feel something dark and sinister carried on the winds of the plateaus. I consulted my father and the chief, and eventually my old teacher, Father Barkhorn, came to visit. You might remember the name. He was the traveling priest we chased after during the Civil War. But it turns out, he was also the 8th Dominion of the Gralsritter, with the title the Roaring Lion. He was an extremely skilled knight, who investigated the salt pail in Northumbria and trained Brigadier General Bardius. Apparently, he was worried and came to Nord to check up on me. He explained to me that what I had been sensing was called the Gale of Ruin. I'm not sure why I'm able to sense it. Maybe it's because I'm a descendant of those who fought alongside the Lionheart Emperor. I mentioned this to him and he came to a realization, but then it happened. A Calvardian ship that broke past the 7th Armored Division attacked my village. My father was away at the time. I fought back in an attempt to protect my family, but it was no use. Right as I prepared myself for death, my teacher threw his huge body in the way to protect me. And as he lay there dying, he passed his stigma onto me. Across the nearly 1,000-year history of the Gralsritter, its highest-ranking members have each borne one of 12 sacred markings. This was one of those markings.
The Roaring Lion? I've heard that name many times. He saved many people who were affected by the disaster in Northumbria. Yes, among the current Dominion members, he was the most veteran. And after the stigma was passed to Gaius, I took him to the holy city of Arteria, where he received knight training, hence his half-year of silence. I see. If that's what was happening, you should have told us. Yeah, we could have helped you. It's okay, everything happened so quickly. I did everything I had to do and finished my knight training. Last month, Eustace was finally able to reach me. The power that I've received from my master. With it, I will save the Empire, my second home as a member of Class 7. You've always been so grand and reliable. Thank you, Gaius. Please lend us your strength. Yes, I will give you my all. Seeing someone like him puts us under even more pressure. Yeah, the gap isn't just in age or experience. This group has become awfully formidable. No. We're still training. I would like to reach the heights of my predecessors.
Grandmother! Stop hiding! Come out already! You're the one who called us here in the first place, aren't you?
I only hid myself so as not to interrupt your discussion.
You're Emma's grandmother. The elder of the witches, Roselia, was it?
Indeed. But you may simply call me Rose. I had you all gather here for one reason. To explain to you the background between the Hexen clan and the church.
I see, so that's how it is. But aren't the witches opposed to the church?
It's not as though we don't believe in Erebos. There have been some differences in opinion over the years, but we and the church have worked together on a number of occasions.
For example, during the War of the Lions, or the vampire incident in the Middle Ages. Not to mention the fight against the Dark Dragon 800 years ago.
But all that was just Rose sticking her nose into other people's business.
Huh? Wait, so you were involved in all that?
Legend has it, Emperor Dreikel's camp was once visited by a good witch. And the novel Red Moon Rose features a vampire hunter affiliated with the church who was, in truth, the true ancestor of the vampires. The woman you now see before you was both of these people, even if she looks a bit different.
How old are you exactly?
800 or so. However, you should know that my situation is somewhat unique. All other witches are normal humans. Except, of course, for the fact that they are all descendants of those who once guarded the Septarian of Fire.
Septarian of Fire? It's the same as the Aureole of Liberal and the Great Tree of Crossbell. The Septarians, the 7 gifts bestowed on humanity by Eidos. It said that they were all lost during the Great Collapse 1200 years ago. They're the things Erebos has been trying to get their hands on all this time. Yeah, now for the main topic. Now, where to begin? Grandmother, we don't know anything beyond this. Don't leave out any details, make sure you explain it fully. I second that request, I don't know the details either. Let's see, Roselia, perhaps we should take turns talking. Very well, that will suffice. I'm sure you've noticed by now, but there is a front and back to this empire. The spirit winds are directly affected by the turbulence of the government and war. And that causes cryptids and powerful monsters from other planes to stir. That explains it then. As the Empire's territory spreads, so will they. The Pluralmograss and Magic Knights, where did they come from in the first place? Well, to begin, Pluralmograss is a mountain grass from the higher planes. It once served as the eyes and ears of the Septarian of Mirage. Normally, it's blue, but after the incidents in the Crossbell, it all vanished. That is, until after Crossbell became part of the Empire, at which point it began reappearing in this new scarlet shade. The implications are rather chilling. It changed colors to match the Infernal Castle, perhaps? There is undoubtedly a connection. As for the Magic Knights, you may have heard before, but they are golems from the Dark Ages. They were created by mages of the Empire to fight against the Divine Knights. During the Civil War, something caused them to stir once more. They now appear in Crossbell via the Spirit Path. That would also explain the increased incidents with cryptids recently. What about the society? The Phantasmal Blaze plan, they sought to use Crossbell's false phantasm to awaken the blaze in Erebonia. At least that's what I heard. Seriously? So that's their plan. When did you hear that? Well, last night I heard it from the Chancellor himself. He told me some other intriguing things too, but I feel like he intentionally left out some of the more important details. I see. I heard you talk to him, but it seems Erebos' work in Crossbell 2 years ago was to bring about some kind of change in Erebonia. Just so you know, Crossbell's Mirage Septarian was an artificially created fake. It was stronger than the original, but the society had no interest in it. Were I to hazard a guess, their goal is to acquire the two treasures that originally existed here. The Septarian of Fire and Earth that once called the land of Erebos home. The Septarians of Fire and Earth. So Lobrel had the Septarian of Space and Crossbell the Septarian of Mirage, but Erebonia had two Septarians. Hold on a second. Emma, if the Witches are descendants of the people who guarded the Septarian of Fire, yes, then the Black Workshops and Gnomes are the same people. The descendants of those who guarded the Septarian of Earth, they're our counterparts, much like the Royal Auschwitz family of Lobrel and the Croix family in Crossbell. In addition, you may be aware that each Septarian has its own holy beast assigned to watch over it. Lobrel had an ancient dragon, Crossbell had a divine wolf, and as it had two Septarian, Erebonia had two holy beasts as well. However, after the Great Collapse, each of them vanished alongside the Septarian they were to oversee. That's the core of the issue. The two Septarian, the two groups of people who worship them, and the two holy beasts. The Septarians and holy beasts disappeared and the people changed their names. What happened in Erebonia 1200 years ago? Allow me to reveal to you the truth behind the land of Erebos. The story still relies on a modicum of speculation. Please keep that in mind. Ooh.
In the beginning, this land housed two of the Septarian. The Arc Rouge, Septarian of Fire and wielder of fierce power. The Lost Zem, Septarian of Earth and bearer of unyielding endurance. Each assumed the form of a colossal guardian and went about granting boons and performing miracles for its people. For a few centuries, the land of Erebonia prospered. But eventually, its people began to vie for power and control. The Septarians had always granted their people's wishes. But now, their peoples each wished for the other's destruction. And so, the two colossi began fighting. Their battle ravaged the earth and split the sky, devastating the entire region. The humans tried to stop them, but it was in vain. The Septarians' fight continued 1,000 days, scorching the land black. When the battle ended at long last, it was a tie. Exhausting their power in one final strike, the two Septarian were blown away, left as nothing but empty shells. Yet the tale did not end there.
The power expelled by each Septarian collided and became one, resulting in the creation of an entirely new entity.
The Great One.
The Great One, the Septarian of Steel. It was an existence created from the union of fire and earth. It was beyond anything else in this realm. It was the ultimate source of power. Though things seemed fine at first, the survivors of the war soon realized the eternal conflict within it. They knew this conflict would cause it to grow ever more unstable, and that it was not something that could be handled by mankind.
With the Holy Beast's assistance, the Kins of Fire and Earth joined together to see the Great One sealed away. However, each of their attempts ended in failure. Left with no other options, they resorted to their final plan. The Great One would remain whole in the higher plane, yet its physical incarnation in this world split into numerous shards. It was this final gambit that saw disaster averted.
Indeed, their combined efforts bore fruit. The Kin of Earth created 7 vessels, while the Kin of Fire split the Great One's power and infused each vessel with a part of it.
Seven dolls
divine
in the form
knights.
of knights, each bearing the Great One's power. The Divine Knights.
Wow. That is beyond fathomable. I was told about this in bits and pieces, but... So all that happened 1200 years ago? That wasn't the fairy tale, right? At the very least, something similar happened. So, what happened after that? And why did Valimar and the other Divine Knights start fighting? This is as far as the story that was passed down goes. So, the Kin of Fire became the Hexen clan, and the Kin of Earth became the Gnomes. They split the unstable ultimate power into 7, and both sides decided to watch over their reconstruction after the Great Collapse. And by the way, many people from each kinship have since abandoned their roles. They joined together, started accepting people from the surrounding area, and created the foundation of what became Erebonia. This is around the same time the Septian Church was spreading across Erebonia. 300 years passed and the Arnor family established the city of Heimdall. That's when the disaster of the Dark Dragon occurred.
900 years ago, Heimdall was a small city of only about 50,000 people. However, it was one of the burgeoning centers of culture for the region. The Septian Church had finished construction on the Heimdall Cathedral, and there were plans to develop the city even further. But it was then the Dark Dragon appeared, blanketing Heimdall in miasma and transforming it into a city of the dead. Emperor Astorius chose to lead his people south and made Sainart the new capital of Erebonia.
In helping Emperor Astorius deal with this crisis, the Hexen clan and gnomes each suffered substantial losses. The Hexen clan lost its elder, and the gnomes their holy beast. And so ended their alliance. The final time they spoke would be a century later. It was when Emperor Hector awakened the Vermilion Knight to reclaim Heimdall from the Dark Dragon. He did so at the urging of the chief of the gnomes and the new elder of the Hexen clan, myself. However, the Emperor fell to the Dark Dragon's miasma, and the Vermilion Knight to its curse. The Emperor's son had the chief of the gnomes and myself seal the cursed knight deep below the Imperial Palace. That would be the last act our 2 clans performed together. I do not know why, but the gnomes cut off contact with our clan and hid themselves away. In the 800 years that followed, whenever war struck Erebonia, a divine knight would enter the stage, demonstrate its might, then vanish. I was certain the gnomes were involved, yet all we could do was guide awakeners on the proper course. This unending pattern reached its most fevered peak 250 years ago during the War of the Lions. The false Emperor Orthros unearthed the cursed Vermilion Knight, and a mercenary under Prince Lucius' employ awakened the Palatinate Knight. Prince Dreichels found the Ashen Knight, and Leanne the Argent Knight. The 4 awakened at once, made for a grand war indeed.
So that's how things connect. There are so many parts to this story I want to question, but... So Emma's grandma was around during the War of the Lions? A good witch, I've read about them in fairy tales. As a prince's guide, I accompanied the Dracos camp. I remember those days. I used to be quite the beauty. All I mean to say is that the art depictions of me are not inaccurate. As I said earlier, the elder of the witches isn't a normal human. So you've been watching over the clan after becoming an immortal being. Yes, however, I only came into existence 800 years ago. My predecessor perished soon afterward, and I do not have many memories from before that point. So naturally, there are things that I still do not know. But there are things that you do know about, such as how you said the maiden Leanne was the awakener of the Argent Knight, and whether or not she is Ouroboros' Steel Maiden. That's true, you could confirm so many things. It is her. Of that much I am certain. She was the daughter of a count who met the Wandering Prince, and later challenged the apocalypse only to lose her life. However, before that happened, it was I who guided Leanne to become the Argent Awakener. But Leanne knew her powers were too great, so she kept them hidden away. It was only during her battle with the apocalypse that she unleashed her full might. In the end, however, she was fatally injured and passed away after the war. Then, half a year later, I witnessed her revival, along with your ancestor Arsaid, second in command of the Eisenritter. So that's why. Were you the one who revived them, grandmother? Yeah, that's what I'd like to know too. After Leanne passed, I thought it was strange how her body did not rot. So I took her body back to the village, and half a year later, she simply woke up. I assumed she had become an immortal, though I could not say what, when, or how. Leanne realized what was happening to her, so she left Erebonia to walk the earth without even telling her love, Drycles. She left Legram with Arsaid, her right-hand man. I occasionally met with her whenever she came around, but the last time was 200 years ago. That's when she met Erebos' grandmaster, who brought her into the fold. Thank you for sharing this. There are some things that I can't be overlooked. Yeah, we've seen too many incredible things over the last few months. So the boss and Crow were both... As I said earlier, we have no idea what specifically happened. I think the key is the Divine Knight. The Jaeger King was not an Awakener when he was alive. On the other hand, Drycles was an Awakener, but he did not become immortal. He has remained dead. That's right. Instructor Reen isn't immortal, is he? Right, he's still been growing since graduating. Yeah, I may have some weird powers, but I've definitely aged. Is there a common reason? I believe there are only two people who know the truth. The current Chancellor, Gileath Osborne, and the Chief of the Gnomes, Black Alberic. So that's the leader of the Black Workshop. Yeah, though I do not believe he is an immortal like me. The leadership of the Gnomes is somehow passed down from one to the next, in order for them to achieve their goal of bringing about the Great Twilight. The Great Twilight? This is the first I've heard of it, but... Is that the fairy tale of the end that Vita was talking about? Yes, 800 years ago, as we were going our separate ways, that is what the Chief of the Gnomes told the Prince and me. It was as if he was foretelling a future where everything ends. Wait, that's too... It's much too similar to the direction the Empire is heading. Let me add to this. The reason Barkhorn and I were in Erebonia was because we discovered an anomaly. The spirit veins were being distorted all over the continent, and the source seemed to emanate from the Empire. It was like a ripple effect. The incidents in Lombril and Crossbell, as well as the civil war in Erebonia, only served to further increase the distortions. They continued to get larger after Crossbell and Northumbria were folded into the Empire, and larger again when the cryptids and magic nets of Erebonia appeared in Crossbell. On the other hand, Paloma grass, which is native to Crossbell, started blooming in the Empire. If the Great Twilight really is about to happen, then all of this seems to be an omen of things to come. Who is this Alberic person? He uses the Masked Man as his agent and hired the Jaeger King, who is supposed to be dead. Are there other gnomes out there? Well, your dear rabbit friends may technically count, but besides the Masked Man, their leader seems to have at least one other acting agent. I cannot say who this person may be, but it would seem they are a talented craftsman at any rate. Oh, and before you jump to conclusions, I am not speaking of that little brat Schmidt. It would seem the person I speak of possesses a different kind of genius than he does. Talented craftsman. That sounds... That's putting some unpleasant ideas in my head. In any event, Alberic and the Chancellor are probably connected, and it's unlikely to be through the Intelligence Division or his children. With the incidents of last night, things may have already been put in motion. Why do you say that? Last night we finally decoded the Black Records that you found the other day. Oh, the Black Records are a collection of a particular type of artifact sometimes found in Erebonia. I was actually exchanging information about them with Reen. Really? When did that happen? After you all graduated, he revealed his true identity to me. He told me not to tell anyone. I hope you don't hold it against me. Instructor Thomas, I mean Sir Lysander. Geez, you probably took advantage of Reen's sense of responsibility, didn't you? Well, I can't deny it. In any event, this is what the updated Black Records said.
When the sacrifice is made and the ancient blood flows, the path to the Gral of Erebos shall open. When the tainted holy beast is pierced by the blade of World's End, and its blood fills the Gral, the great twilight shall fall upon the land.
What? That? The timing is too perfect. It's as if the prophecies were written about our current situation. If the ancient blood is referring to the Emperor, then is the sacrifice referring to Ash? What about the Gral and the blade? The Gral is probably related to the Septian Church, and the tainted holy beast. Sir Lysander, could that be? Yes, as was stated earlier, Gaius. There is a sacred place beneath this cathedral, the Primal Ground, a facility that was designed to play a major role after the Great Collapse. 900 years ago, when Heimdall was shrouded in darkness, it retreated beneath here and disappeared. Disappeared? I heard about such a facility in Laboral. Yes, there is one beneath the Grand Soul Cathedral in Laboral too. However, when Heimdall was retaken, the space beneath the cathedral was buried by rock. But what if it didn't disappear and simply transferred somewhere else instead? So it still exists? The holy beast mentioned in the prophecy is likely the holy beast of Earth. As I said before, it disappeared after the disaster 900 years ago. It is only speculation, but I believe the dark dragon you faced the other day was merely a servant of the true holy beast. Wait a minute, are you saying that the dark dragon wasn't the cause of everything? Though it was indeed a powerful cryptid, it was not something the witches and gnomes could not take care of together. If the holy beast gave birth to the dark dragon and is still alive somewhere, where else could it be put but the Primal Ground? All of the conditions set forth in the prophecy are lining up. This has got to be a joke. Regarding this Blade of World's End that defeats the holy beast, in other scriptures it is called the Originator Zero. I'm speculating that it's a special weapon created by the Black Workshop. What in the world? At the very least, it probably isn't anything like what the boss uses. Do you think it's made of Zemurian ore, like the weapons used by Divine Knights? It would seem most likely.
Muse?
Is something the matter?
Oh?
You realize something?
Right now, we need any straw we can grasp at.
Anything at all could help, no matter how small.
Yes, you're right. That term. Originator Zero. Could that be OZ, perhaps?
That's what the Black Workshop called Millium and Altina.
They're model numbers. OZ.
Oh, what are you talking about?
So you finally made it.
That voice. Vita!
Ah, so the prodigal granddaughter returns.
Misty, Vita.
I heard you had been acting on your own.
Nice to see you again, grandmother. Emma, Celine, and Class 7 too. And thank you for mediating, Mr. Lysander.
Oh, don't even mention it. It always breaks my heart to see a family torn apart so.
Vita! Why? You really don't plan on ever coming back, do you?
That's correct. As I said before, my allegiance will forever lie with the Grandmaster. I can't return to you and grandmother. I can never go back to the way I used to be. Just like the Steel Maiden.
Seriously, who even is this Grandmaster person? I have no clue. But it is clear she is quite taken with them. So do tell, Vita. If you have not decided to return to us, why show yourself now? Has Ouroboros finally decided upon its course of action?
Yes. After our experiments with the 3 ions, the 6 other Anguis came to a unanimous decision. They decided to ignore my warning. They will work with the Chancellor and the Gnomes to bring about the Great Twilight, completing the Phantasmal Blaze Plan.
That's...
So that's how it is.
The reason Ouroboros was so quiet the past month wasn't because they left Erebonia.
It was to carry out their plan and determine whether they should work alongside enemies and traitors.
Man, when you put it that way, Osborne is a very frightening man. Even more frightening man. Ouroboros waved the white flag to Osborne.
How can that be? If that were the case, it means...
They're all our enemies?
Is this?
It's not the cathedral's bell.
Huh? I think I recognize it from Crossbell.
You do?
Yeah,
Crossbell's
I'm
bell.
sure of it. I remember hearing it right before the incidents in Crossbell, when we were still independent. Oh! The one from the museum!
The bell from Stargazer's tower?
But the sound's coming from a different direction than the museum.
The Phantasmal Blaze Plan. What a fitting name. I wonder how much of this she foresaw.
That is quite enough mumbling to yourself. If you know what is going on, show us!
It'll be a bit tough without Grianos. I'll need your help, Grandmother. Emma, Celine, you too.
Yes!
Ugh, I'm not your slave.
Uh-oh. What's happening? It's Carol Imperial Villa again. Altina! No! Not my baby.
Now then, let us say we celebrate the continuation of the Phantasmal Blaze plan by bringing in the Great Twilight. I, Enforcer number 0, the Fool, shall play the opening note.
Dude, people playing this for the first time will lose their shit the entire freaking finale. No doubt. Imperial Villa, 500 Arch points. Like going through this again makes me wish I never. Makes me wish this was my first playthrough. Honestly. It's just so insane.
Check that out!
Huh. Sure is something.
Well, how about that?
So, the beginning of the end, is it?
Deja vu.
The Gral of Erebos. Just as the Black Records foretold.
The crypt where the great power will be reborn.
Green. Uses.
Couldn't have guessed this is how my day would turn out when I woke up this morning.
Like there.
Let us begin. It is time. Chief of the Gnomes and head of the workshop, show me the way, Black Alberic.
And the reveal of the Black Alberic. The man who is hiding in plain sight all along. Alberic of the Black Demise.
As you wish, my lord.
War is upon us. It's about to be a battlefield. Dude, this part is so epic, man. Oh god. I'm getting excited. Ah, I cannot wait to go through this.
Rufus. Millium.
Was that Allie?
Not my Allie. Give her back.
Yes. But why?
Boss, Zeno, and Leo.
Azure Siegfried.
And that guy in the lab coat. Isn't that...
The blazing demon and the fool were there as well.
So that's the maiden.
Why?
Sharon.
We just spoke this morning and...
What's going on?
Lisa.
That man's name was Lumen or something like that, right? His hair looked different.
Just a different color.
Franz Lumen. The first disciple of G. Schmidt, and the deceased husband of the Reinford Group's chairman. Also known as Franz Reinford.
Ah, so he has been lurking in the shadows these past 20 years.
Yes. Perhaps for the sake of working with the Chancellor to end.
Oops.
Yes. Perhaps for the sake of working with the Chancellor to engineer this very moment.
Elisa.
Snap out of it! Now's not the time! As a bracer, I can't just sit here and let them pull off whatever that Twilight crap is they're planning. How about all of you?
She's right. We can't stop here.
We gathered together to do whatever we could to help. Our goal remains unchanged.
Yep, true.
Elisa, let's go.
Yeah.
Well, Vita, what will you do now?
Well, I'd like to charge in there alongside the rest of you, mostly out of spite. Unfortunately, I suspect things won't be quite that easy.
Damn.
What do you...
Cucked out of using Vita in CS3. Feels bad, man.
Something's
There's a turbulent swirl in the mana.
There's a turbulent swirl in the wind.
Was that?
I believe so.
Sir Lysander, Sir Gaius, cryptids and magic knights have appeared all over the city.
Uh-oh. Here we go. The real point of no return. Alright, no problem. Oh dear god. Wreaking havoc all across the city.
Mother! Grandfather!
It appears your suspicion was proven correct, Miss Clotilde.
That's the Partitioner's power.
A useful trick indeed. I shall assist with the rest.
That's our grandmother for you.
Good job, Rosine.
Emma, help me! Of course!
Incredible! This is what the Hexen clan and the Gral's Ritter are capable of?
Reen! Everyone!
Guys, what are you doing out here?
It's Elise and Princess Alphen!
Wait! Stay back! Watch out!
Your Highness! I can't leave you here!
We won't make it in time.
Ill-mannered brutes! How dare you threaten these ladies!
Patrick!
Patrick! The son of the High Arms family?
Thank the goddess.
And you're quite strong, Patrick.
Let's finish them! Indeed!
Put two magic knights on their knees by himself? Not bad.
Reen! Oh, I'm so glad you're all right.
You too, Elise. Thank you, Patrick. You really saved the day there.
I simply happen to be in the right place at the right time. But what in Adios' name is going on?
Does all this have something to do with that bell we heard?
In truth.
The others were filled in about the situation and what went on at Carol Imperial Villa.
Cedric, why?
Seems like all of Heimdall is like this.
The Railway Military Police and the 4th Armored Division have begun to move, but...
Damn. We need to keep Her Highness and the others safe.
Don't worry, I'll take care of that. I can create a barrier around the girls' school. That way, they should be safe from things like magic knights and cryptids.
Really?
That'd be a huge help.
Vita!
My. We were counting on you, but...
I suppose we have no other options.
Patrick, please, take care of them.
After Vita, you'll be the next most skilled combatant guarding them.
I shan't let so much as a hair on their heads come to harm. Please be careful yourselves.
I never would have thought something like this would happen. All of you, keep your wits about you.
Yes, you as well.
I promise I'll come back safely. After all, I still need to find out the truth. And exactly how much you know. About Sharon. And the Black Workshop.
Oh.
Elisa.
My agreement with Sharon was always meant to end the moment he reappeared. The man she fought 10 years ago. The one who vanished into the flames he left behind. Now that our agreement has come to an end, there's nothing left to tie her down. I'm sure she can return to her former job without a care in her mind.
Mother!
There are better ways to put it. Schmidt, how much did you know?
Nothing more than a suspicion. When I found his notes on the Panzer Soldats, I knew he intended to present them to me as a graduation thesis. Apparently, however, he's become consumed with some ridiculous delusion. So I will see this through to the end. I plan to find out what he intends to do with my third disciple.
So you already knew about George?
Yes. I approached him knowing he was from the same place as Franz. The Black Workshop. Headquarters of the Gnomes. Hidden away somewhere in Erebonia.
If you're not convinced, then the only thing to do is go hear it for yourself. Sharon's true feelings, and the truth about that man.
Of course that's what I'm going to do.
Rain, Muse, Yuna, and Kurt, please be careful.
We will. You stay safe too.
Elise, Your Highness, may Adios protect you.
We'll come back, I promise. So please wait for us.
I believe in you, Reen, and everyone else from Class 7. Please, stop Cedric and the others.
As you wish.
I swear it on my honor as a noble, and even more, as a member of Class 7.
We shall put a stop to that bell and its grim tolling.
Vita, please take care of things here.
Of course. Once this is all done, let's have a talk. Just the two of us. Consider it my way of apologizing for avoiding you for so long.
I'd like that, but I won't hold my breath.
Oh my.
You reap what you sow, Vita. Well. It seems Emma has matured enough that she can see right through her secretive sister's lies.
Oh, you're one to talk, Grandmother.
Wow! So this is what the second Anguis can do.
Very well. We are now ready to depart.
Indeed. Let's be off. Rosine, please take care of things here.
Yes, I'll try to get in contact with Sir Hemisphere somehow.
Sir Hemisphere.
Reen, Gaius, everyone.
Wazi.
Stay safe.
You too. Thank you.
All right. Let's go!
To the Imperial Villa. No, the Gral of Erebos.
There's the red logo again.
me know if anyone's injured. This kind of stuff is what gets you the big-time awards. No way I'm gonna let my chance get away.
Here, Hugo! You didn't have a hand in all this, did you?
Of course not. That's what I'd like to say. But I can't deny this is the sort of crisis they would engineer.
What's that supposed to mean?
Halt, fiend!
It's the 4th Armored Division! Ah! Yeah!
Too weak!
Manning that Goliath like a boss.
The central boulevard is now secure. However, it seems the threat is still spreading across all districts.
We received a report that something's happened to the Gral Imperial Villa.
All units, break into 3 regiments. We'll each move to different parts of the city. Nighthawk, contact both Thor's campuses. Understood. Warrant Officer Allen, you...
Yeah, man, people playing for the first time are gonna be an absolute ride.
What in Adios' name? Those look just like the thing that showed up in the old schoolhouse. Damn it! Out of the way!
I just cannot wait for the end. The end is what I'm waiting for the most.
Oh no!
Oh no.
Look out!
Get out of the way, kids!
Hi! Matthew!
Run away, you two!
Quit trying to show off, idiot. It's you guys! The bracer lady, too!
Everyone okay?
Leave it to us.
We must rid ourselves of this trash at once.
I'll partition us off to limit the damage. No need to hold back, ladies and gentlemen.
You have our thanks.
We'll have this place cleared out in an instant.
Class 7, old and new.
Prepare for combat.
Yeah!
Oh, baby. This just look all different. I'm gonna change this to the Gral. If they lost their mind before this, they're probably passed out from this chapter alone. Probably. Yeah, this is fine. It's no big deal.
What a passionate foe.
Time barrier!
My turn. Roar! Gold Dragon Formation!
Roar!
Let's go!
Gold Dragon Formation.
Ha! My turn. It's down. Music!
Understood!
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's my turn. Roar! Helix Strike! It's down!
It's mine!
Yes!
Scatter your foes!
Oh. Oh god. Little did he know. I'm sure a lot of people are gonna do the same thing though, not gonna lie. I know I did, or I probably would have too.
Very well. Strike! Let's go! Roar! Helix strike! Now!
It's mine! All right! Time barrier!
Let's go! Very well. Let's go! Raging fire formation! My turn! Strike! Eight's down!
Keep it up!
I'm up! Roar! Helix strike!
Well, yeah, I did, but let's say this was my first playthrough, and I would have, yeah, well,
This'll
yeah,
get a bit spicy. Fire!
I don't need to explain anything.
Now's our chance.
Too slow!
Here I go! Set! Gunner! There! Wide open!
An opening! Very well. Strike! Eight's down.
Keep it up!
I'm up! Spirit unification! Let's go! Let's go! Raging fire formation! It's my turn! Roar! Helix strike! Now!
It's mine!
It's my turn. Scatter your foes! Light speed flash! Yes! Azure wings, shoot! Let's go!
Too slow! Very well. Very well. Strike! Eight's down.
Keep it up!
I'll end it.
Here I go! Set! Striker! Yeah!
Like, honestly, I wish I had a better reaction on my first playthrough, because I was absolutely shook at the time. Like, I really didn't really know what to say at the time, but I won't really get into it that much right now. I'll wait until I get to that point again.
Arcane Gale!
A strong enemy! Be careful!
Guys can finally use S-Craft Howling Heavens. Oh my goodness. Amazing.
Don't take me lightly! Answer my prayers and appear before us!
Let's hear this S-Craft, guys.
The lone guardian shield!
Don't disappoint me now.
Elegant, a mirror gleaming in the darkness. Shine, Palace of Eregion!
Don't disappoint me here.
This is the power of the soaring phoenix. Golden seal etched deep in my soul. But the goddess's fury in my spear!
Put the goddess's fury in my spear.
Howling heavens!
Not bad, guys. Not bad.
Leave it to me.
I'm impressed.
Seize victory! Noble rise! It's my turn. Let's go! Now!
It's mine!
My turn. Sorry.
Leave it to me!
Barrier of time, break!
Leave it to me! Ha!
It's my turn. You won't escape! Now!
Attack!
Let's go!
It's my turn. Let's go!
Let's go! Oh! It's down!
You guys sound so angry.
It's my turn! Barrier of time, break!
Very well.
Bellow! Sacred roar!
He sounds so angry.
It's my turn. Let's go! An opening!
Take this! It's my turn.
This is the power of the soaring phoenix. Golden seal.
Etch of the goddess's fury in my spear! Ha! Howling heavens!
It's my turn! If you could,
Leave it to me. Light! Shine over us all!
What? Oh!
Oh god.
It's my turn.
Strengthening!
Huh?
Very well. Let's go! An opening! We fight as one!
I'll handle this! Leave it to me!
Brace yourself!
Huh?
Blinding light! Gather in my blade!
Iola's Saber!
Excellent.
Yes!
Leave it to me. You won't get away. Molten Storm! Now!
There! Let's go! Leave it to me! Barrier of time, right! Let's go! Oh! Now!
It's mine! My turn.
Seize victory! Noble rise!
Yes! You won't get away! Molten Storm! Now!
There! Very well. An opening!
Take this!
This is the power of the sword. See.
But the goddess's fury in my spear! Ha! Howling heavens! Leave it to me. Let's go! Ha! An opening!
Take this!
My turn. Go up in flames. Fire! Now's our chance.
There!
Leave it to me!
This is it! You failed your inspection! One more! This is the end? Justice Bullet!
Those things were no joke.
But with that, we should be safe.
Targets eliminated.
Are you guys okay?
You're not hurt, are you?
Whoa! That was so cool! You beat those things up super hard! I was so scared!
What are you looking at, Reen Schwarzer? He's actually super cool.
Huh? I didn't quite catch that.
I didn't say anything.
Well, anyway, I'm glad you're all okay.
Okay, kid, okay.
Kai!
Martha! Fred!
Oscar! Everyone!
Oh, you saved them!
Thank you all! And as for you three, you had us worried sick.
I'm sorry, Mama.
It seems like it turned out okay.
Nia, Matthew!
Everyone's taking refuge at the inn. You should come too.
Guys! Looks like you're all done too.
As soon as we confirm everyone's safe, we need to keep moving.
Even more? Why are there so many?
My. This will prove troublesome.
They keep reappearing.
We can't just leave them here.
Some of us should break off and head to the palace.
No need!
Huh?
Sounded like a Panzerfaust, a rifle, and a pistol.
Up there!
Oh!
There's so many of
Jingo.
the bastards! They just keep coming! What should we do, Mama?
Ha! This is nothing compared to that crap with Vald. Just break them one by one and drive them back. Josette, you help too.
Josette?
Yeah. I can tell you two are related. You're both completely insane. Leave this to us. You all go on ahead.
I like how the dog's with him too. Can't leave him behind.
Jingo and them.
Josette, too! Thank you!
Let's get everyone out of here right away. Bennett, Philly, help me.
Yeah. Of course.
It would seem the situation is under control here. Let us move on.
I don't know what's going on, but good luck.
May Erebos be with you!
Thank you!
Let's go!
Rain, I'm so glad I was finally able to get a hold of you.
Toa, how are things on your end?
The Imperial Defense Force left just now. Is Heimdall really under attack? What's going on there?
I'll explain, so please try to stay calm. Long story short, the Gral Imperial Villa...
Oh, Celestine on the front lines.
Monsters! We've lost communication with Valflame Palace. It seems the Chancellor, the Crown Prince, and the Governor General are all out.
Chancellor Osborne, you really are.
Lord High Arms, it's Patrick! He's confirmed Her Highness the Princess is safe. However, Marquis Ragnar is still missing. He was last seen heading east.
I see. Everything is turning out just as she predicted. We should begin preparations for our next move.
Huh?
Brigadier General, the die has been cast. Put the plan in motion and protect as many of the citizens as possible.
Understood. Guess we'll just need to wait for the main players to show up. Begin operation! This will be the Viceland Army's first battle! We'll enter from the west gate and take down every cryptid and magic knight on the way to Heimdall Station. We'll have company, so let's show them what we're made of!
Yes, Commander.
Yes, Commander.
So Shirley and the Red Constellation are there.
George, I was afraid of this.
Claire, too. What is she thinking?
This is Irving. The Ark Royale has moved. Heimdall Station? Are they headed for the villa?
Uh-oh.
Doesn't that train belong to the main campus?
You mean that red armored train?
It would appear the time has come to settle our rivalry with the main campus.
Ho ho! Here she comes.
I'll be heading off on my own now. All of you should hurry to the villa to help Schwarzer's group.
Please, wait!
Where are you off to?
I have some personal business to take care of. Don't worry. I'll still fulfill my duty as principal of the branch campus. I'll even take down a few of those monsters while I'm at it. All my young horned lions, may luck be on your side. Fight well.
Personal business, she says.
Anyway, we need to hurry to the villa.
Seems like the Chancellor is the one behind all this. What are you gonna do?
I shouldn't even need to say it. I will take action as an instructor of the branch campus.
Save again. Damn, you got an army protecting that thing. Crypt of Demise, the Gral of Erebos.
So that's the Gral of Erebos.
Gral.
The Corel Imperial Villa is completely gone.
Yes, it's just like the Infernal Castle.
The Red Constellation's got a whole battalion here.
The Arc Royale, and...
Ada and Fritz. So the main campus is on their side.
You've arrived even earlier than I thought you would. I expected to see Abyss there with you, but it seems you have a spectacular lineup even without her.
Class 7. I knew you'd come.
George.
Georg.
Why? One of the gnomes, and Ouroboros is full.
Your struggle is pointless.
This is all our Lord's will.
Please don't think ill of us.
The Stahlritter.
They've poured every resource at their disposal into guarding this place.
Well, boss's orders. You know how it is.
If you wish to get past us, you had better be prepared. I will do all I can to serve Miss Orlando.
Sino, Leo.
So the two biggest Jaeger Corps are working together.
By His Highness's will.
Instructor Reen, Class 7. We will stop you here.
What's wrong with them? There's no way this is okay!
Good or bad, they're still Erebonians.
It's difficult for them to defy the Chancellor or the Crown Prince.
Rose, Instructor Thomas, is there a way to get past that barrier?
It will be extremely difficult, even with the help of your Divine Knight. But if I were to combine my spells with this twerp's partitions...
We may be able to manage it.
Grandmother!
So you're going to open a path for us then?
It seems that's our best bet.
I will leave the rest to you, young ones. Emma, Celine, see to the teleportation spell.
Yes! Got it!
Are they seriously gonna fight us?
Yeah.
If this lineup didn't scare them off, they got some serious balls.
They're coming.
No way!
They aren't just going to give up.
Reinforcements have arrived.
Ha! Guess we got here in time.
Just barely.
Teotot, you made it!
Yes, I hitched a ride.
Agate! Where's Shara and the others?
We were in a pretty rough spot, but she chewed me out and sent me ahead. Asked me what the hell I'm good for if I'm not by your side at a time like this.
Agate and Tita.
Sitting in a tree.
Kissing.
Shut the hell up!
Well, now that we've gone and shattered all the tension.
All the players have taken the stage.
Let us begin.
The two of us will take on the members of Ouroboros.
Oh, it's time for war, baby.
What nonsense!
No, the Second Dominion will be more than sufficient as an opponent.
Not to mention the Crimson Witch. We should assume she's as strong as the Second Anguis, if not more so.
Alrighty then, we'll take care of Heavy Blade.
I am curious to see the power of the ZCF's latest armament.
We shall engage the young master, the daughter of the Foundation, and the RMP Major.
Then I'll take...
Toa.
Thor's branch campus.
Oh!
Alongside
Cue the
our
Spiral of
allies,
Erebos
we'll begin
music.
our operation to secure the Gral of Erebos.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Thor's Military Academy's main campus. We move as well.
We will now begin our interception of the branch campus.
Yeah!
Dude, I flippin' love this track. Daughter of the Foundation talking about Tita.
Why, George? Since when were you a part of the Black Workshop? And where's Angie?
From the beginning. Way before I was even the professor's apprentice, I was born into the gnomes. And Angie, she's dead.
That's a lie! Left wing, pull back! You're overextending! I know Angie, Crow, and you better than anyone! You've got her locked up somewhere in your headquarters, don't you?
You tell him, Toa.
There's no way someone like you, someone who helped Crow, would let Angie die!
Let your heart out, Toa.
If you know me so well, then I'm sure you're expecting this, right?
Toa! Not today!
Rain! Everyone! Now's your chance!
Everyone synced up. We're ready to move now.
Why the rush?
Prepare yourselves!
Honestly, I'd love to have a boss rush. Just all the way up to the Gral from here.
We won't let you pass.
That'd be freaking awesome.
Now!
Go, children of Class 7!
Wings! Take us there!
Now we leave the rest to them.
I'm certain they'll find a way to stop this somehow.
Uh-oh. You've really done it this time.
We'll make you pay for that.
Don't underestimate their power. That's the Second Dominion you're talking to. Ooh.
So this is...
Inside that huge black egg.
We're here, boys. Gral of Erebos, top layer.
I've never felt power like this before.
Yes. It's far beyond that of the Infernal Castle.
Pretty big, too. Could be a
500 arch drop?
Yes, based on the echoes, I would guess that's about right.
Let's go!
I'm certain they're waiting for us.
I believe you're right.
Ouroboros' Anguis and Enforcers, as well as their allies the Gnomes, and...
The Iron Bloods.
Unfortunately.
Everyone is waiting for us.
But we need to go anyway.
Yeah, we can't stop no matter who's waiting for us.
We must press on together, as Class 7!
Yes, so we can live our lives in peace and stop them from ending the world.
Elisa.
That's right!
We won't allow them to succeed, no matter what.
Looks like you're all revved up and raring to go. It's a shame we couldn't get everyone in here, but we'll just have to figure things out.
Spiral of Erebos, baby.
That's right. What awaits us here is our ultimate battle, but there's no need to be afraid.
Because we have Reen
here.
here.
We've all trained for over 2 years, each of us honing our skills. Together, there's nothing the United Class 7 can't overcome. We will halt the Great Twilight. We will rescue Altina. And on behalf of everyone out there who sent us off, we will all return alive. No matter what.
Yeah!
All right, let's be careful.
Hey, got all the books. Okay. All right. Before I begin our journey down the Gral of Erebos, I'm gonna go ahead and read all these black records real quick. Since I have all of it now, I guess I'll go through the history. Because I do have plenty of time to do this. So let's see, let's start from the top. While some hype music plays. The War of the Lions begins the year 947. In the year 947, Emperor Valius V passed away. His death heralded the beginning of the largest scale civil war in Erebonian history. Valius V was a ruler with a somewhat debaucherous reputation and is said to have had countless wives and concubines. To further complicate the matter of succession, many of those wives came from prestigious noble families, all of whom began competing for power and wanting their offspring to take the throne. Within days of Valius V's death, Crown Prince Manfred, the son of his first wife, was assassinated by an unknown party. Following the death of the Crown Prince, the fourth prince and son of the first Emperor Valius' second wives, Prince Orthros, seized the capital by force. Once in control, he declared himself the new emperor and began purging all those who dared to oppose him. The coup set off a succession of counterclaims, and 3 other princes also named themselves to be new emperor. Backed by the powerful noble families of their mothers, the competing princes ignited a bloody 5-year-long civil war, and thus the War of the Lions began. At first, the princes' armies were largely equal in terms of strength. It wasn't until Orthros, who would later come to be known as the False Emperor, revived that being that had long been sealed under the city that the balance of power shifted. The Testarossa, the legendary Vermilion Knight, now tainted by the blood of Zora Ogruga, saw the light of day once more. With its unmatched strength under his control, Orthros decimated his greatest competition in one fell swoop, and the 5th prince, Gunnar, was defeated. It seemed inevitable that the armies of the other princes would share the same fate, but it was at this pivotal point that the war took yet another surprising and sudden turn. This unexpected development came in the form of the Great Knight, the Palatinate Knight. The famed champion was acquired by Prince Lucius, the 6th and youngest of the feuding brothers, and with its power he was able to defeat the army of the brilliant strategist and second prince Albert. Victorious and backed by the knight's power, Prince Lucius was poised to challenge Orthros. Prince Gunnar and Albert's armies, however, were not completely wiped out and decided to join forces with one another in order to oppose the other princes. It was thus that the war became one fought by 3 separate groups: Prince Orthros with a Vermilion Knight, Prince Lucius with a Palatinate Knight, and Princes Gunnar and Albert who had no knight but compensated with their sheer numbers. The War of the Lions had been raging for 2 years now, and the chaos only worsened by the day. Erebonia seemed fated to fall into ruin and darkness, fitting, perhaps, for a nation that takes its name from Erebos. Erebos... wait, where was I? Yeah, okay. The Dark Dragon. Year 371 Septian calendar. 200 years after Heimdall was first founded, ruin rose on monstrous wings from the depths of the earth. Its name was Zoro Oguga, the Dark Dragon, a malevolent creature of terrible power. It spread a miasma through the capital that turned Heimdall into a city of the dead. But the horrors did not end there. The evil dragon desecrated the corpses of the fallen, taking control of their bodies and using them to attack those who remained alive, further increasing the legions of the dead. The emperor at the time, Astorius II, was forced to flee the city with what remained of his household and citizens. Together they retreated south and established a new capital in the land of Saint's Ark. For 100 years, the bane of Heimdall went unchallenged until Hector I, the 7th emperor of Erebonia, that's a spelling error, Erebonia, resolved to capture the city. Time had proved an ally to the beast, however, and the dragon's influence had spread over the surrounding area like a plague. Undaunted, Hector I led an army of brave knights into the necropolis in an attempt to free it. But though their hearts were steadfast, their arrival was met by legions of powerful fiends, and their efforts seemed doomed to end in failure. It was then that Hector I had a fateful encounter with none other than the great Vermilion Knight, Testarossa. The knight recognized Hector as its master, and bolstered by its immense power and countless weapons, the Emperor moved once again on the city and to the decisive encounter with the Dark Dragon. By battle, shook the city to its core, and at the end, the Vermilion Knight was victorious. The scourge of Heimdall, the Dark Dragon, was defeated. However, the price of victory was steep. The corrupted blood that flowed from the dragon claimed Hector's life and defiled even the knight itself, placing a curse upon it. The noble Testarossa became the Crimson Calamity, a demon with 1,000 weapons that only reacts to the blood of the Arnor family. A destructive force on par with the Dark Dragon that, should control of it ever be lost, would threaten the world and all who live in it. It was sealed deep underground, never intended again to see the light of day. Meanwhile, a new city rose from the ashes of old, and people once again began to gather in Heimdall. And that was when the Vermilion capital that endures to this day was first built. Drakel takes up arms year 949. The young man lays on a grassy plain enjoying a nap in the peaceful setting. Before long, however, his rest was interrupted by the arrival of a second young man on horseback. The youth wore the trappings of a knight, and his expression was deathly serious. His armor bore many rents and scratches, and his left arm was bound in a bloody bandage. The first young man had not seen him in several years, but a cheerful reunion did not seem to be his purpose. "You were right, after all," the second man said, gravely. "At this rate, the Empire's days are numbered." At this, the first young man rose from the grass. He was none other than the third prince of the Erebonian Empire, Prince Dracos. As a man with no claim to the throne due to his commoner mother, and shunned by the other highborn princes, Dracos had long since left Erebonia behind, wandering from place to place and whiling away his days. 3 years prior, he had reached the land of Nord, where he had remained ever since. Though left to his own devices since childhood, his nature was noble and he was quickly accepted by the people of Nord and lived peacefully among them. But while he had left his homeland, he had not truly abandoned it in his heart. During his wanderings, his mother had passed away, but while she lived, she had told him something that would remain with him for the rest of his days. "The blood flowing through you will not allow you to turn your back on the Empire's suffering." Prince Dracos had turned those words over in his head, and again, what could a powerless vagrant like himself truly hope to do? The knight's arrival, however, signified two things: that the war continued to worsen, and that Erebonia was on a certain path to ruination. His mother was probably correct. Hearing the knight's words, he decided that enough was enough. He could ignore the pain of his countrymen no longer. That knight, incidentally, was called Roland. He was a childhood friend of Dracos and his confidant. He was also the man who Dracos had left in charge of things in his place before leaving the country. Prince Dracos set about preparing to depart, but before he could finish, he was met by several of the tall knights of Nord. Their cross-shaped spears in hand, they too were close friends of Dracos, and they volunteered to accompany him and Roland, fearing that the two men alone would not stand a chance. The next morning, the prince departed the village, a mere 17 men under his command. They bade farewell to the people of the settlement, and its elder wished them well. "May the winds of the goddess be with you," he blessed them. "Fortune favor you all." The gods of creation, before the Septian calendar. In the beginning, there were two great gods. One boasted unrivaled courage, the other unparalleled fortitude. They descended from the heavens were their kin, and it was upon the dark land below that they first met. Calamity. Their opposing natures incompatible. The two were drawn irresistibly into battle, and thus began a struggle that shook heaven and earth. The goddess and the spirits lament for naught. As the land quaked, the skies were torn asunder, and the gods' kin could only tremble in fear. After what seemed like an eternity, their clash came to an end, but it was an end of mutual defeat. Their power spent, the empty shells of the two celestial titans were flung into the furthest reaches of the dark land. All that remained in their wake were terrible, their kin, and the great power. The war comes to an end, year 952. Prince Draco's opponents were the armies of 4th Prince Orthos and his Vermilion Knight, 6th Prince Lucius with his Palatinate Knight, and the combined forces of the remaining princes Gunnar and Albert, who had a legion of magical golems under their control. Yet, it was he, the illegitimate son of a commoner and late comer to the war, who emerged triumphant. His victory did not come without losses, however. During his return to Erebonia, Roland fell in battle. Not long after that, however, he met a woman who would change his destiny forever. That woman was none other than the daughter of Count Sandlot, who hailed from the lakeside of town Legram. Her charismatic personality and peerless skills with a lance earned her the leadership of a band of knights known as the Eisenritter and the moniker Lance Maiden. Her name was Leanne Sandlot. Prince Dracos and Leanne Sandlot may have come from widely different backgrounds, but their concern for the innocent victims of the war united them in purpose to bring an end to the bloodshed, and it was those shared feelings that made them join forces. The two of them, along with the warriors of Nord, the Eisenritter, and all of the other peoples of the nation, whose heart they moved, liberated one town after another and were eventually successful in persuading even Prince Lucius, the owner of the Palatinate Knight, to fight for their cause. At the same time, however, the false emperor schemed to elevate the cursed Vermilion Knight to even greater power, to godhood, and thus the Vermilion Knight, the Vermilion Apocalypse, was created. The demonic god emerged in Heimdall along a monstrous castle and vanquished the approaching armies of Albert and Gunnar in a single battle. Their end was anything but conventional, however, they were simply erased from existence. Even the Palatinate Knight could not contend with such a foe and was felled. As it was decimated, all who challenged the false emperor, countless Crimson Spirit bands spread out from the castle, stealing the very life from the capital citizens, as well as those in the surrounding area. Defeat seemed all but inevitable for Prince Dracos, the Lance Maiden, and their followers, but they refused to give up. Following the guidance of a kindly witch, they were led to a new great knight which slumbered on the outskirts of Heimdall. After overcoming a trial, they were able to claim the Ashen Knight and its power. With it in hand, along with their many supporters and the army of Prince Lucius, they marched on the capital for the final time, eventually making their way to the castle at its center. 3 days later, on the 4th of July, year 952, the castle vanished from existence and the city was liberated. Whew. Now onto the Black Records. The founding of Heimdall, year 081. In the years following the Great Collapse, Adjudicator Ardnor chose Heimdall as his base of operations from which he planned to rebuild the land of Erebos. Before long, the city became a pillar of the region, and following that, its capital. The citizens, however, continued to suffer in the harsh post-collapse world. They wished for a strong, caring leader to see them through these harsh times. It was in Ardnor their wish was granted. After being recognized as an educator by both holy beasts, he was the clear choice. He was crowned as an emperor and became the first of many rulers in the Ardnor bloodline. Upon his coronation, members of the Septian Church were dispatched from Arteria to endorse the new ruler. The people of Zemuria had lost the objects of their worship in the Great Collapse. However, the Church provided them a new way of connecting with Eidos, faith. In addition, by recognizing the legitimacy of rulers across the continent, they strengthened the foundations of its recovering civilizations. In the year 881 of the Septian calendar, the third emperor, Sion Ardnor, had a great cathedral built in Heimdall. The cathedral was to be a bastion of faith and would serve as a site to crown future emperors, but it also held a far more significant role. Unbeknownst to the public, an artificial primal ground was created below the cathedral, a replica of the one that existed below Arteria. With the church's increased presence, the desperate times following the Great Collapse came to an end. The people had lost their civilization, but now had faith to sustain them in their search for light in the Dark Ages. However, 200 years later, the darkness that gripped Erebonia would pull them to the depths of ruin. One of the holy beasts suddenly disappeared along with the primal grounds below the cathedral. It was the same day that the Dark Dragon's miasma laid waste to Heimdall. The Magic Knights, year 527. 150 years after the recapture of the capital by Emperor Hector, powerful families rose across the empire while imperial power stabilized. The empire slowly took on the form of multiple territories. The noble families were recognized by the emperor, and they soon began to quarrel over territories, starting many small-scale battles. During this time, great knights akin to Emperor Hector's Vermilion Knight appeared and were occasionally used in conflict. Some noble families each received their own Azure Violet, Ash, Silver, and Gold Knights, allowing them to wield overwhelming power and determine the outcome of battles. However, the Great Knights were something of a calamity. Other powerful noble families were not in search of more power or Mira, but in search of some kind of resistance. Then came the mages' new creations, golems born of magic, the Magic Knights. Like many others, the mages were in pursuit of the glory of the ancient Zemurians and were obsessed with recreating it. With Mira from the noble families and the help of a certain faction, several Magic Knights were created to resist the Great Knights. Unfortunately, these Magic Knights were imperfect. They had a critical fault of only being operable when spirit veins were activated. Luckily, spirit veins were always disrupted wherever the Great Knights appeared, so the Magic Knights became a successful resistance countermeasure. In the year 527, the first golem that was used as a basis for the Magic Knights was created by a mage serving a now extinct but formerly powerful northern noble family. At a height of 5 arch, this headless golem, called Old Gadia, became a remnant of the mage's trial and error and a prototype for later golems. Old Gadia. Huh. Okay. The Lance Maiden, year 942. Two shadows wavered in the corner of a dark underground room lit only by a small bonfire. I see, so you feel an overwhelming presence, do you? The young maiden stood before the fire. The faint breeze passing through the underground blew her hair, giving it the appearance of a flowing stream of gold, contrasting with the massive silver lance she held in her arms. Oh? Are you telling me you wish to turn back before we have even begun? If you are, then so be it. This is far beyond the power of mankind. A young woman with golden hair and red eyes, wielding a dimly shining staff, entered in an antiquated tone. The maiden shook her head and urged the woman to open the door before her. It bore the crest of a cross, surrounding by spirals. The maiden's name was Leanne Sandlot, the daughter of the Count of Lohengrin Castle in Legram. However, she would be remembered by history as the Lance Maiden. Raised in Legram, known for its masterful teachings of warfare, she displayed skill in the art of battle far surpassing her age. At the young age of 15, she was already a match for the Castle Knights. Said to have godlike mastery of a lance on horseback, it wasn't long before she had completely surpassed the other knights in competitions, amassing a veritable mountain of laurels and awards. The country was amazed by this young girl's incredible talent. The tale of the maiden who was stronger than the knights protecting her spread, and people began to flock to her. At age 16, she began hearing a voice in her head. The voice was austere yet magnanimous, and it told Leanne of the duty she had to fulfill, and the destiny she had to accept. Naturally, Leanne was upset by this voice only she could hear. However, it wasn't long until she met its owner, a mysterious woman who called herself a witch. The witch spoke of an entity sealed far below the castle and of Leanne's duty to become its master. They're talking about Roselia here. Its presence was overwhelming, and once claimed, it would bring its wielder great power. Yet it also had the potential to cause great devastation. After much consideration, Leanne made the decision to undergo its trial. It was her way of trying to bring an end to the Empire's conflicts. In addition, as long as she held this power for her own, the noble families would never be able to use it. The witch was surprised by Leanne's answer, but recognized her determination and spirit by offering to help her. Thus, the door opened and the Lance Maiden and the witch proceeded into the trial. 5 years later, the demise of the Empire would lead to the beginning of the largest scale civil war history had ever seen. The War of the Lions. The Lionheart Emperor, year 994. Forgive me, you may leave now. Yes, sir. Please call for me if anything happens. The head butler, now in his later years, bowed before leaving. The other man sighed deeply as he lay down on the bed. He was elderly and sick. His well-trained body was as sturdy as a fortress still, and very few would ever doubt the condition of his health. However, he was clearly aging, weakening, and felt his end looming over the horizon. The Lionheart Emperor, otherwise known as Dracul's Raisei Honor. He was the 73rd Emperor, and nearing the age of 70, after ending the five-year-long civil war known as the War of the Lions, Draculus had been working tirelessly for 40 years. Although he was enthroned the year the war ended, he had lost his Nordic friends and parted with the witch. He and his vassals worked hard to restore the empire. I have no regrets. No need to worry about the children either. The Empress had also urged him to give up on thoughts of the past. She was the daughter of a marquis who was assassinated during the Civil War, and, although she was much younger than he, they fell deeply in love, and she bore him 2 sons and daughters. Although she passed several years earlier, their children remained healthy and would shoulder the burden of the reconstructed empire's future. The next generation is being raised as well. In the first half of the war, his best friend, Roland Vander, gave his life to protect him, and now Honor raised his son. The son was already in his 40s now, and he flourished as a martial arts master while serving as a military officer. Then there was Thor's Military Academy. He had established the academy 20 years prior. It was a place for the best and the brightest, accepting students from various backgrounds. You'd be surprised. He smiled, thinking of his good friend that had fallen into a deep slumber at the end of the Civil War. The academy was constructed at the place where he now rested. These long years weren't for nothing then. As long as I can endure that thing before Aidios comes for me, that is. He looked apathetically to the corner of the room. There waited the nameless darkness. ... Today it came again to speak to him, begging pathetically, threatening with intimidation, subtle and inviting. He knew what it was. Ever since that day, 40 years ago, when he took the throne. I suppose I should be happy the children and their descendants were not cursed. If he were not the man with the lion's heart, it would have surely been the start of unbearable suffering and despair. Dracul's? An incredibly nostalgic and harmonious voice. Long, golden, flowing hair suddenly appeared. Yeah, this is the resting place of Roland Vander, apparently. Thor's is the resting place of Roland Vander. Oh, wow. The Salt Pail, year 1178. On July 1st, 1178 at 5:45 a.m., a great catastrophe struck Northumbria. Then a principality in northern Zamoria, a giant white pillar suddenly appeared on the outskirts of its capital, Halias. The pillar was composed not of snow nor ice, but salt. As such, it was named the Salt Pail. A storm of salt spread outward from it, solidifying everything it touched. Despite only lasting a few days, its effects were felt for months afterward, as citizens fled south seeking refuge. In the immediate aftermath of the catastrophe, the number of victims equaled about 1/8 of the country's population. That number rose to a nearly third of the population with the inclusion of victims in the days that followed. After the incident, the Septian Church led the evacuation procedures, provided aid and employed hundreds from the Bracer Guild to help. In a short time, relief forces from Erebonia, Remoferia, Jurai, Liberal, and the Republic of Calvard had assembled in northern Ambria. Meanwhile, the country's leader, Prince Balmund, who had fled to a neighboring country at the start of the catastrophe, had returned to rebuild the government. However, he was met with violence from the enraged citizens for leaving them behind in their hour of need. In the end, he was forcibly removed from power, and Northumbria became a democracy. The remnants of its former armed forces remained as the Northern Jaegers. Erebonia, their neighbors to the south, had contradictory views on the new autonomous state. On one hand, it refused to recognize the legitimacy of the new democratic government. On the other hand, it eagerly welcomed the Northern Jaegers. Northumbria's extreme poverty and focus on bringing in foreign currency meant that former soldiers were easily manipulated by the promise of imperial coin. The Jaeger Corps went around the empire, hiring themselves out of the nobility and newly developing businesses who were fighting over the septium and natural resources. They turned out to be the perfect pawns for Erebonia to use in its proxy wars and internal struggles. Despite this, the massive amounts of mirror that flowed in from the Empire helped save Northumbria from its dire straits. 27 years after the catastrophe of the Salt Pale, the Empire annexed Northumbria as reparations for the Northern Yeager's actions in the Erebonian Civil War. As before, Erebonia's vast resources ended up lifting the former independent state out of its chronic poverty. Shortly after the disaster, the Septian Church restricted access to the northern half of the country. After the annexation, however, the Imperial Army's intelligence division began investigating the Pale, which had been since classified as an otherworldly singularity. One of the intelligence division's collaborators has been able to confirm that members of the Church's Dominion retrieved the Salt Pale and brought it back to Arteria. It's rumored, however, that a piece of the Pale still remains on site in Northumbria. Okay. Number 6. The Orbital Shutdown Phenomenon. Year 1203. The southern reaches of the Sutherland province. All orbital power came to a sudden stop in the area around Parm and Titus Gate. It had been a relatively mild winter, but without lights, communications, or heaters, the people of Parm found themselves subjected to cold and darkness for an entire week. The Sutherland Provincial Army was called in to provide aid. After a short investigation, the source of the outage was determined to be a city-sized airship that appeared over Valeria Lake in Liberl, the neighboring kingdom to the south. The floating structure had a height of 5,000 and a length of 3,000 arge. The ancient Zemurian structure drew in nearly all orbital energy from the entirety of Liberl into itself, thus the southern reaches of Erebonia were affected as well. 3 days after the incident began, the Imperial Army's 3rd Armored Division moved with surprising speed from the Dreknor Fortress to Parm and then onto Titus Gate, giving support to those affected along the way. Though the Army's orbital tanks used to function near the Empire's southern border, they also had a large number of steam-powered tanks available. Using the combustion-driven models allowed them to get around without relying on orbital energy. Even the cannons themselves used gunpowder ammunition. Though it wasn't ideal, it was enough to allow them to respond to the situation. The leader of the 3rd Armored Division was Lieutenant Zex Vander, a member of the family tasked with guarding the Imperial family and a moderate in an army led mostly by warhawks. He felt conflicted as he led his division south into Liberlian territory. The government's stated reason for his current orders were to protect citizens during the power outage and assist Liberl during the current crises. The strange part was that steam-powered tanks, which were vastly inferior to the orbital-powered models, had been commissioned by the Imperial government and provided to the army only a month before the incident. Though the 3rd Armored Division was first to make it to the border, a number of other divisions were on their way. In the end, the military intervention was stopped thanks to Prince Olivert of Erebonia's Imperial family and Brigadier General Cassius's right of the Liberlian army, with the arrival of Liberl's functioning airship. Yep, this scene right here at the bottom of page 4. I think that was, yeah, it was a scene in SC, if I remember right. With the arrival of Liberl's functioning airship, Arsail, as proof they could handle the situation without Erebonia's assistance, they were given the time they needed to restore power to the region. As orbital energy returned to the southern reaches of the Empire, it signaled the end of the tension between the two nations. To certain individuals, however, it was clear that the Faceless, the Anguis of the Erebos, responsible for engineering the incident, had connections to Erebonia's intelligence division. Wait. Okay. The small autonomous weapons the Faceless utilized during this period of time would later come to be known as combat shells. Good to know. And one more. Twilight begins, year 1206. Between flame and earth, the wavering darkness begins to spin the tale of the end. First, the conflict of the great gods of the second pillar. Second, the fusion of earth and flame, and the completion of the 7 vessels. Third, the beginning of the 1,000-year city and the acceptance of the Gral. Fourth, the disappearance of the Holy Beast and the catastrophe of the Whispering Dragons. Fifth, the recapture of the capital and the Vermilion Curse. Sixth, the Lion's War, and the sacrifice of the Holy Maiden. Seventh, the appearance of the Great Pillar in the north and the unwanted child. 8th, the sacrifice of the village and the 100 Days campaign. 9th, the great blue tree to the east and the appearance of the cursed castle. Thus, the 1,000-year-old wish was fulfilled. When the sacrifice is made and the ancient blood flows, the path of the Gral of Erebos shall open. When the tainted holy beast is pierced by the blade of the world's end and its blood fills the Gral, the great twilight shall fall upon the land. Yeah, so apparently they were. Interesting reads. Very interesting reads. These are all just more like fun stories. I think I already read most of these. This is basically a spoiler. Alright, let me set up my squad here. Alright, that's enough reading. That was a good read. I'm glad I actually took the time to do that. My voice is, or my throat is so dry now. It's time to save Altina.
There! We'll end this quick! You can't escape! Fire!
It's my turn! Second form, Gale! Now! Yuna, now!
Yes! Yes!
Let's go! Strike! 8's down!
Keep it up!
Oop, actually, oops, I messed up.
It's my turn!
I put in the wrong person for the party.
Azure Wings, shoot! Let's go!
Too slow!
All right! Yeah!
My turn! Yeah! There!
Keep it up!
It's my turn! Sit! Now!
It's mine!
Oh, you know what? I forgot to do one thing.
Roar! Gold Dragon Formation! Very well. There!
Keep it up!
I'm up! Spirit Unit! I'm up! Now!
Keep it up! It's my turn! Our chance!
Too slow!
I'm go! Yeah, let's go!
An opening! Very well. Ha! Now, let's continue. I must try.
I grew a little.
Sit!
Do be careful. That enemy's strong.
We're back here again. We're still so high up that I can't even...
Be on guard. It's strong. My turn.
Breakthrough! Sledgehammer!
Let's go. Strike! It's my turn. Spirit Unit. Let's go. It's down.
Keep it up! It's my turn! Take this!
It's my turn. This'll get a bit right. Let's go!
An opening. Let's go. Let's go. Raging Fire Formation. Very well. He's down.
It's mine!
It's my turn.
Burn, valiant heart!
I'm up. Now!
But you know what?
It's my turn! Time barrier! Break!
Let's go. Get back! It's down!
Keep it up! I'm going. This'll get a bit right. Now's our chance!
An opening!
Actually, I need to get I need to max their CP. Quick. I'm gonna do that.
Ready!
A strong enemy! Be careful!
Burn, valiant heart! It's off balance!
Attack!
I'm up. Form now! There!
It's my turn!
Arcus activate!
Leave it to me. And there! More escape!
Let's go!
There! Yes!
Healing breath!
Thanks! It's my turn. Let's go! Spirit Unit! Let's go! Let's go! Raging Fire Formation! Let's go! Now!
Attack! I'll handle this. It's off balance!
There! Leave it to me. Switch with me!
Leave it to me! Ha! Let's go!
An opening!
It's my turn! Let's go! Raging Fire Formation! It's my turn! It's down!
Attack! It's my turn! There! I'm going! Yeah! Now's our chance!
An opening! You're always help. All right. I need.
Ooh, a treasure chest!
Zeus Gem. Oh, just what I was looking for. I don't need another one of those, so this can go on fee, I guess. Or actually, I'll give this to Sarah. Why not?
Everyone ready? Spirit Unit! It's my turn!
Burn, valiant heart!
Let's go!
My turn! Now!
Keep it up! Yes! Yeah! Let's go!
An opening!
I'm going! Now's our chance!
An opening! I'm up! Let's go! Raging Fire Formation! It's my turn! This is
the power of the 8 leaves. Alright, now I can take you out. For Yuna, and then Emma can be taken out for crit. Alright, cool. We're set.
Sit! Ready! Sit! Ready! There!
An opening!
Burn, valiant
Spirit Universe! It's my turn! Crimson's now! Too slow!
All right.
Yes! Yeah, now's our chance! All at once!
Leave it to me! Very well. There! An opening! It's my turn! Let's go! Raging Fire Formation! It's my turn! It's down! Too slow! This is it!
Here I go! Our chance!
Too slow! My turn! Yeah. Now, let's get... Sit! Yeah. There!
Now's our chance!
Spirit Universe! Let's go! Let's go! Raging Fire Formation! Let's go! Let's go! Each down!
It's mine! Here I go! Take this! Wide open!
Too slow!
Yes! Ha! Now's our chance!
An opening! Let's go! Roll! Heal it! It's down!
Keep it up!
I must train...
I grew a little.
Now!
Oops.
Bring it on! Roar! Gold Dragon Formation! Second form, now!
Keep it up! It's my turn! You can't escape our chance!
Too slow! Let's go! There!
It's mine!
Yes! Azure Wings, let's go!
An opening! Let's go! Second form,
Here
Gale!
I go! Okay, let's keep moving.
Sit!
A treasure chest.
Ooh, Seraph.
Ready!
I can give that to somebody. Wait, what do you have? Oh, yeah, I gave him Gunner, that's right. Impede, Seraph. Yeah, that's fine.
This one's strong! Be careful! Spirit Universe! It's my turn! Sit! My turn! My turn! Let's go! Raging Fire Formation! Very well.
Here I go! You can't escape our chance!
Too slow!
I'm going! This'll get a bit of spice! Now's our chance!
An opening! It's my turn! It's down! Music, cover me! My turn! It's down!
It's mine! All right!
Let's go! Raging Fire Formation!
Here I go! Our chance!
Too slow! Let's go! My turn! It's down!
It's mine!
It's my turn! For everyone's sake, I can't afford to lose!
I must...
I can't afford to lose.
Looks like a toughie. Stay on your toes.
Ready!
This one looks frightening. Please be careful with a passionate foe.
Roar! Gold Dragon Formation! Spirit Universe! I'm up! Get back! It's down!
Keep it up!
My turn! There! Yuna!
Oh, yeah! All right! You can't get wide open!
Too slow!
I'm going! Yeah, now's our chance!
An opening! Let's go! It's down!
Keep it up!
Very well. There!
It's mine! Here I go!
Let's go! Raging Fire Formation!
All right! Our chance!
Too slow! It's my turn! Roll! Heal it now!
Keep it up! It's my turn!
Let's go! Raging Fire Formation!
Yes! Yeah! Let's go!
An opening! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! Raging Fire Formation! Let's go! It's down!
It's mine!
I'll end it!
Rat, yeah!
I need to keep getting better.
I need to keep getting better.